straight from the underground. A young nigga got it bad cause I'm brown.
Well, that was delicious. With the last batch of high-quality DS games finally out the gate, it's fairly safe to say that the system's dead in the West. But hey, it had a good run, right? Till all that piracy and all those game sales that weren't being achieved took hold, but whatever. The point is, the DS has tons of games, great games, and The World Ends With You, it's one of them. Developed by Jupiter and Square Enix and released on the 22nd of April 2008, The World Ends With You is easily one of the most creative games ever released. It takes full advantage of every single feature the DS has, from the touchscreen to the microphone to even shutting the system itself. You play as Neku, an antisocial loner who wakes up in the middle of Shibuya only to be attacked by giant frogs. From there you join forces with Shiki, a girl in a similar situation, and the game just gets 57 varieties of fucking nuts. Turns out they're involved in what's called the Reapers game.
The Reapers.
The Reapers.
The Reapers.
Yeah, fucking Reapers. In which the participants have to fight for the right to return to the normal world. So on the way to doing this, you're going to meet a cast of colourful characters who are just as weird as the names they possess. Okay, to completely contrast what I said earlier, the story is actually really fucking complicated. And it's not in the themes or the ideas the writers were trying to convey, no. They're fairly easy to understand for the most part. It's just that the story is full of misdirection and straight-up fabrications, keeping you, the player, and the main character in a state of total confusion until the end game. At which point, the plot makes perfect fucking sense, but it doesn't really make up for the clusterfuck you're subjected to getting there. Although, the story, I do quite like a lot. It touches on a lot of cool things like graffiti, counterculture, friendship, becoming corrupted by the system and becoming a massive corporate dick, stuff like that. Things you don't really see in a lot of RPGs. And while the story is interesting, it's by far not the best part of the game. That would be the battles. The World Ends With You has one of the most unique and innovative battle systems of any RPG I've ever played. Let me break it down. You play as one character on the bottom screen and another on the top at the same motherfucking time. Now, that sounds insane and stupid and not easy in the slightest, but believe me, it actually is. The way it works is on the bottom screen, you use the stylus to make Neku attack foes by either slashing them or tapping them or other touch-based motions, as well as using the stylus to move around and avoid attacks. While at the same time, on the top screen, your partner attacks enemies by using Dance Dance Revolution-like panels to land hits and activate a fusion attack, which annihilates enemies and does major damages to bosses. After about an hour or so, you really do start to get used to the battle system, and after just a little bit longer, it becomes second nature. And yeah, it's not quite as strategic as you'd think it would be. A lot of the time you end up just doing things on the bottom screen while mashing left or right on the top screen and not really looking at it. But even after that, you do get better, and there is a lot of strategy involved in later stages of the game, which make it a really rewarding and enjoyable experience. The better you get at the battles, the faster you finish them. And the faster you finish them, the better ranking you get, which gives you more XP, which makes grinding a lot easier in the long run. But the battle system isn't the only thing in The World Ends With You that's rad. The soundtrack is fucking phenomenal! It's packed full of super jerky, high energy tunes that complement the game's visual style and keep the blood pumping and the fun flowing and your dick rock hard! But yeah, if you play the game for more than 2 hours, that music is actually gonna get really goddamn annoying. I like to call this Persona Syndrome. This being an RPG, I should probably talk about the RPG elements that are actually in The World Ends With You. You have the standard EXP, leveling up and whatnot, but you also use clothes and accessories instead of traditional armor, which is pretty fucking cool. Naturally, you can use EXP earned from winning battles, but you can also earn XP for the amount of time you spend not playing the game, as the internal clock in the DS will rack up XP even when it's off. Also, the way you level up your attacks or pins is really cool. Separate from the pins, your dedicated attributes, i.e. your attack and defense, that can be leveled up by buying different kinds of food from around town. The way it works is you buy food, you eat it, and you have to wait till you fully digested it to get the full benefit of it. Also, you can only eat 24 bites worth of food in one day, which is a cool little touch. You can even raise the item drop rate by lowering your overall level at the pause screen. You can also raise the difficulty level to get more XP and better pins for winning battles, but believe me, the higher difficulties are almost completely fucking impossible. They're like Contra-Shattered Soldier levels of difficult. All of these RPG elements help to add a lot of meat to the game. None of them really feel that awkward or tacked on. My favorite part of the game though has to be the boss battle, specifically the first real boss you fight, Giant Golden Bat. This battle was, and still is, the defining moment of the World Ends for you, at least for me. It was the point where everything clicked and I realized I loved the game. That and the music of that fight, Give Me All Your Love, yeah. That is one hell of a pumping tune. Too bad you hear it again and again and again and again and again and again and again in normal battles later on in the game, so it kind of takes away its awesomeness, but it's there at least for the first week. Unfortunately, despite the game's high sales numbers, it doesn't look like we'll be seeing a sequel anytime soon. Although Neku is appearing in the Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance for the 3DS, which does raise an interesting point regarding non-Final Fantasy characters in a Kingdom Hearts game. If they were to make a sequel, hopefully it would add a wider variety of pins and enemies that weren't just palette or sprite swaps. Still, if you're on the hunt for a good portable RPG with a zesty lemon twist, even if you're new to the genre, then you can't go wrong if The World Ends with